Morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I would like to begin by reading the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Unfortunately, in Angelina County, citizens cannot exercise our First Amendment right to express grievances against Sheriff Greg Sanchez without dire consequences to our reputation, business, and livelihoods. I'm the founder of Bags of Love and owner of A1 Towing. Bags of Love was a local nonprofit organization that provided duffel bags to foster kids to use in place of trash bags. A1 Towing is a towing business and is working with law enforcement to tow vehicles after an accident or an arrest. I'm here today because for the past year and a half, I have been bullied, intimidated, and threatened by Greg Sanchez. In February of 2018, I had invited Greg Sanchez to the Bags of Love Gala. This was an event organized to benefit and raise money for the organization. I invited law enforcement officers from multiple agencies. I provided these officers with free tickets to the event. Greg Sanchez was also provided a free ticket, and Greg refused to attend after I could not accommodate his difficult and demanding seating requests. He did not want to sit by certain state troopers or county commissioners. At this time, I was really unfamiliar with the sheriff. I didn't really think anything at all about his demands or the fact that he didn't show up. However, pretty soon after the event, I began to receive negative feedback regarding the sheriff. Apparently, many in the law enforcement community were offended that Greg refused to attend a children's charity function over a seating arrangement. I suppose Greg became aware of this negative publicity and decided in an attempt to make amends to send a $50 donation that would cover the cost of the ticket. Unfortunately, in my opinion, this is the event that put me on Greg Sanchez's Facebook radar. In late November 2019, I shared 2 mugshots from my personal Facebook page. These mugshots belong to Grant Hightower and Brianna Simmons, the adult children of the sheriff of Angelina County. I shared the mugshots because I believe that the sheriff's stepson, Grant Hightower, received preferential treatment when he had been arrested on child molestation charges earlier that month. I included a mugshot of Brianna Simmons for family violence arrest because, in my opinion, their alleged pattern of behavior of violence and sexual abuse, along with the fact that Grant has yet to be prosecuted for his initial sexual abuse charges stemming from 2007, is concerning. As a direct result of posting the mugshots, on December 2nd at 7 p.m., without warning, Morgan Burton dropped off a box of Bags of Love shirts to my home. At the time, these shirts were sold out of their consignment store. These shirts solely benefited Bags of Love. For every shirt that's sold, we can make 2 bags for a foster kid in East Texas. So they did not have to use garbage bags when moving into foster homes. Although she arrived at my house unannounced, I was not completely surprised that the shirts were being removed from the boutique. I'd been told by Morgan Burton 1 month prior that Greg Sanchez wanted my shirts removed from her shop. At the time, I believed it was because I had publicly endorsed Brian Hawley in the election. The month prior, when Morgan had told me that Greg had a problem with the shirts being sold at Merle Norman, I had contacted Amy Looney, the owner of Merle Norman Cosmetic, where Morgan had her shop. Amy told me at that time I did not have to remove any shirts. Amy is the sister-in-law of Greg Sanchez. When Morgan dropped off the shirts, I was informed by her that Greg no longer wanted them there at Merle Norman because of the online content of my personal Facebook page. I believe he used his influence to have his sister-in-law force Morgan to remove the shirts. Another example of Greg targeting me happened soon after. His opponent in the election, Brian Hawley, had volunteered his time to deliver bags to the Lufkin CPS office. On the Bags of Love Facebook page, I shared Brian Hawley had volunteered for my organization and delivered the bags to local CPS. I also stated that Brian Hawley has our vote. The Lufkin Daily News had also featured him delivering the bags to CPS. Because of my endorsement, I made a Facebook Live video informing the public that Greg had used his influence to have my shirts removed from his sister-in-law's business. Greg retaliated publicly by posting his own video and lying to everyone who viewed it. He told the public that I had broken a law by endorsing a candidate on my nonprofit page. He also took a cheap shot at Brian Hawley and said that Brian should be aware of the law if he wanted to be sheriff. He concluded the video by stating, "Leave my kids out of it." When pressured in the comments, he was unable to provide a penal code to support what law I had broken. I think it's unfair to expect citizens to be familiar with imaginary laws with no penal code or statute that he makes up for his Facebook fan club. Since the sheriff was accusing me of Facebook crime, for which he could not provide a statute or penal code for, I wanted to call the IRS to turn myself in and ask for more information related to the accusation. After speaking with an IRS agent, I can admit it is possible that I made an error on my nonprofit Facebook page. I was not aware of this error at the time, but with a possible violation when I endorsed Brian Hawley. The IRS explained I had not broken any laws that the sheriff was saying very publicly via Facebook. They advised that I edit the comment and state that if I edited the comment endorsing Brian Hawley, no further action would be taken, and there would never be any further investigation. The IRS didn't seem to be bothered, and if this error had occurred, it was a very minor infraction. The error was corrected, the comment was edited, and the endorsement was removed. Despite deleting my endorsement, Greg Sanchez and his campaign doubled down on their accusations and continued to tell the public that endorsing Brian Hawley on my Facebook page was against the law. They influenced members of the community to view me as a criminal and a troublemaker. He and his campaign manager insisted that an IRS rule and a criminal law were the same thing. It is unacceptable that the Angelina County Sheriff publicly accused me of a criminal offense by endorsing his opponent. I broke no laws. IRS rules cannot be enforced by courts. Laws can. We learn the difference between rules and laws in elementary school. The sheriff should especially know this. Not only was it unethical and damaging to my reputation to accuse me of a criminal offense for my endorsement, it was hypocritical for Greg to make such a big deal out of my 501c3 supporting Hawley when he himself spent the election pandering churches. I found it extremely distasteful for a local political candidate who had just expressed concerns over the endorsements from a nonprofit organization to accept an invitation to speak at church for the Christmas Fellowship. Greg attended and spoke at the Christmas Fellowship at Highway Baptist Church just a week and a half, so after he accused me of breaking laws by endorsing Brian Hawley. He didn't seem to mind that churches are also nonprofit organizations. He only seemed to be concerned about bullying a 501c3 organization that supported his opposition. Greg's video falsely accusing me of breaking an unknown law basically began what soon would turn into a complete character assassination. But at that time, I attempted to continue my nonprofit work. On December 10th, Greg Sanchez stepped into the Lufkin CPS office. From my understanding, that was the very first time since being elected that he has ever visited the office. Ask yourself, after 7 years, why did you feel the sudden need to walk into that office? During this visit, he spoke with Angel Gillespie, who is an investigator as well as her investigative supervisor. Angel Gillespie later informed me that during this meeting, Greg requested that CPS stop doing business with Bags of Love. First of all, Bags of Love didn't do business with CPS. We made donations to CPS. So, of course, CPS refused and stated that they would not refuse my donations. The investigator, Angel, came to my house December 12th. She was very anxious and was in fear of losing her job, exposing that Greg Sanchez had made the request regarding Bags of Love. We also communicated via text regarding this incident. In these texts, she directly stated that Greg did ask CPS to stop doing business with Bags of Love and remove the bags. She reported this meeting and his request to the Texas Rangers, but it seems Greg flies right under the criminal radar. The things that he does are usually walking the line between unethical and illegal. I know that these actions are immoral and unethical, but apparently they're not illegal. I did not back down. I can continue to inform the public that Greg was still bullying my nonprofit. Greg Sanchez and his supporters continued their complete character assassination and accused me and accused Angel of the caseworker of lying. I spoke with the supervisors at CPS. They never denied that this happened. I also spoke with Trent Ashby because they have legislative oversight into the situation. He informed me that they had spoken with the person and the supervisors and Angel. He confirmed that Greg was at CPS and that what he did was express his opinion regarding Bags of Love. According to Trent Ashby, CPS official stance on the opinion that was expressed is in regards to his opinion that he was told CPS would continue to take donations from Bags of Love. Trent Ashby's office also confirmed that their knowledge of Angel never faced any disciplinary action regarding any violations of policy. If she was lying, wouldn't you think she would have been reprimanded? The intimidation tactics continued throughout the election. Many, including myself, were blocked from Greg's campaign page. He did conduct departmental business from this page at the time, which made it illegal for him to block his critics. Unfortunately, Greg Sanchez is above the law in Angelina County, and it makes no difference to him. Myself and others were threatened by his campaign manager. It was implied that we would be investigated by the FBI and sued for speaking out against the actions of Greg Sanchez. Eventually, I became a target by the overzealous Greg Sanchez supporters, including my neighbor placing Greg Sanchez signs on my property. Because I had become a target of cyberbullying, intimidation, and abuse of power, I decided to dismantle Bags of Love, and it's no longer in operation. In June 2020, a video showing 3 Angelina County deputies beating Mark Smith was posted to YouTube. I find this video and Greg Sanchez's response absolutely disgusting. I've made my opinion well known publicly because my public opinion, A1 Towing, has now become a target for the sheriff. Greg Sanchez had Deputy Renfro call my husband Ryan Hathorn and advise Ryan to remove A1 Towing from my name if we wanted to continue towing for the county. After reviewing the county towing policy, I confronted the sheriff and argued that we had broken no rules and could not be removed from the county rotation. He then threatened to amend rules to the towing policy to force me to stop criticizing his department. I recorded this conversation. I have undeniable evidence of Greg Sanchez threatening to amend county towing policy to adversely affect my business because I dared to publicly condemn poorly trained deputies who beat an unarmed, innocent man and falsified charges against him and their incompetent leader who has absolutely done nothing about it. Unfortunately, the harassment does not stop there. Around July 17th, an individual printed and mailed disgusting flyers to an unknown number of recipients about my business. My 1-year-old daughter's picture was put on these and used on the flyer. The flyer calls to defund the ACSO, among other liberal things. Despite Greg Sanchez's latest claims labeling people who don't like him or the way his department is ran are anti-police, I have never once said that any police department should be defunded, nor do I believe they should. This flyer was intended to hurt A1 Towing and my livelihood. We know it was sent to members of DPS. I believe it was sent to DPS in an attempt to put my contract with law enforcement agency at risk. I have offered a reward for the person responsible. I have reported the offense to LPD, and LPD claimed that the individual who mailed the flyer did nothing illegal, and they weren't going to investigate it. This is just the latest example about how those critical of Greg Sanchez will become a target for bullying and intimidation tactics, and how nothing will be done to stop it. My First Amendment rights have been trampled on by Greg Sanchez. He is so threatened by the voices of the people that he has sworn to protect and serve that I fear he will stop at nothing to silence them. However, I refuse to be intimidated into silence by the county bully. I urge you all to stop this abuse of power and call for Greg Sanchez's resignation. That's it.
Thank you.
Ms. Hathorn, would you answer a couple of questions if you don't mind?
Well,
First,
not
take
in
a
the court.
breath.
You'll have to do it afterwards.
Why?
Am I done?
Don't you want to meet with her after the court?
No, I want to ask her some questions now. Take a breath, relax. There's a lot to go through. You feel your personal safety is at risk?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Feel like your business has been damaged?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I know what you're going through. But I hope you find some resolution. Thank you for your time.